Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of TNT Formula 1. And today we're joining you one day after a very crazy weekend at Baku, Azerbaijan. It has been an insane weekend by all accounts in F1. And I'm your host Tarun, and today I'm joined by our show regulars Vikas and Yash, as well as a new special guest for today. We have Sharath. Welcome to the team, Sharath. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi guys, thank you for having me on the podcast. So I've been a Formula One fan since I want to say 2009, 2010, but I properly followed the seasons from 2012 onwards. I've been a huge Kimi fan from there, and I also started supporting Gasly, AlphaTauri, and such. So yeah.
All right, that's nice, and it's great to have you here. Looking forward to some new, fresh opinions, of course. So, before we get started, guys, we appreciate all your support. And if you haven't done so already, please do follow us on Instagram. We are there at the Next Team SG. And you can also find us on Spotify as well as YouTube as the Next Team Podcast. So, let's jump right into the episode now. Obviously, we had to start off with the Baku Grand Prix. And what better way to start off than to talk about Mercedes? So, we all know that it's been a really bad weekend for Mercedes. They were poor through practice. They had a decent qualifying, I think, thanks to a pretty nice tow for Lewis Hamilton. And then it just all absolutely fell apart during the race. So, let's start by talking about this first. Maybe, Sharath, you want to share your thoughts on really what went wrong for Mercedes this weekend?
Yeah, I think coming into the weekend, Mercedes knew that they were going to be on the back foot behind Red Bull, because I think Baku and Monaco share a bit of similarities, but then there's also the long straight. And yeah, like you mentioned, through practice they weren't looking that strong, but in quali, I think Bottas gave Hamilton a really nice tow, and he managed to qualify second on the grid. Following that, I think Hamilton looked like he was going to seal third place eventually in the race. But I think we all know what happened after that. So, I mean, on Hamilton's side of the garage, I think up until the restart, he did everything perfectly, to be honest. He extracted the most out of the car. And just a shame what happened at the restart.
Yeah, I think this is where the Mercedes issue since last year that they've had with following another car, it actually kind of showed during the race. And not just because of the slow corners through sector 2 and most of sector 3, but he was actually having a bit of difficulty keeping up with Checo. Because at the start he was within 1.2 to 1.3, and he closed it up well on the straight. He would close it up to about under a second, and then it would just go back up to 1.2, 1.3, and over the course of the race, that gap ended up widening to 2 seconds up to even 3. And it was actually a bit lucky in a sense. Well, not that Max crash. Of course, it was not lucky for Max, but it was kind of lucky for Hamilton at that point. And I just feel like this issue has come back to bite them in the ass, with both Bottas having struggles in the 10th, 11th, 12th positions, as well as Hamilton. He just couldn't keep up with the Red Bull in Baku.
But to me, I feel the difference here is that Mercedes, they actually went with two different directions with both Hamilton and Bottas. So where Hamilton had a low downforce kind of car, so it gave you greater top line speed. Whereas, I don't know, for some reason, Bottas preferred a slightly higher downforce car. And that basically made him a sitting duck on the straight. But yeah, I don't know, like Bottas had a very weird weekend. He qualified, P10, I think?
Yep.
And he finished out of the points. He just fell back. And I believe at the restart, he lost 4 places in 8 corners. I don't know if you guys saw the replay, but
he did. It was 4 places.
Yeah,
he had a very poor weekend. Yep.
And yeah, even early on in the race, he just couldn't overtake anyone. He got close to Norris, he couldn't overtake. Which comes again to point out maybe that Mercedes car is not that great in following. But then, a car like Mercedes with such, technically, like, no doubt it's a much better car than a McLaren, but it just couldn't overtake Norris. Yeah, and it just struggled to even get past anyone, literally. Like, I don't think Bottas had a single overtake in the entire 51 laps of Baku, which is quite astonishing considering it's a Mercedes. But yeah.
I think the worst part was that he wasn't just not overtaking. He was getting overtaken by Fernando in the Alpine. He got overtaken by both Alfa Romeos as well.
He was battling George Russell as well again.
Yeah.
Towards the end, right?
Yeah, towards the end.
I don't know what's going on with him, man. Like, he tends to have very good days sometimes and then just miserable days. Like, completely nowhere in the picture. And I don't know, like, honestly, I feel now this is a wake-up call for Mercedes where you see Red Bull having such a good car this year. And they have two fantastic drivers with Max and Checo, and both of them are performing exceptionally well. And then, I don't know, this might give Toto Wolff a bit of, scratching on the head coming to next season, whether he should continue with Bottas, because it could very well be this year Mercedes could lose the Constructors' Championship at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, not only did Mercedes struggle, but I thought Red Bull's strategy was on point, especially with Perez actually managing to hold off Hamilton for most of the race. And I think that played very well. And mind you, Checo did have a slow pit stop like Hamilton. I think it was 4.6 seconds, if I'm not wrong.
4.3 for Checo, I think.
Yeah, okay. But, I mean, it was still a slightly slower pit stop, similar to Hamilton. So, and he still managed to keep Hamilton at bay. I know he had like the faster car. But to be fair to him, he did also have a tyre degradation, which was, if I'm not wrong, right before Verstappen crashed. Checo's rear tyres were around 10%. And Hamilton was around 20%, so he was actually pushing pushing the car till the end, up until Verstappen crashed, and I think after that the race fell beautifully into his hands, but I think overall it was a well-deserved win for Perez because I think he played second fiddle to Verstappen very, very well up until that point, and I think it was deserved it's completely deserved. I was happy to see.
Not just that. Perez actually had an issue. I don't know if you guys caught it, but
at the end, right?
The end of the race.
Yes, 300 meters. He was quite. I mean, in that sense, we were quite lucky. I guess Red Bull were quite lucky.
He was having some hydraulic leak, I hear. So
300 meters from the finish line. So that was good. Yeah. That was very fortunate for us. At least we managed to finish the race.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't have mind. Seb would have gotten P1. So
that is true. That is true. Yep. But we'll come to that soon.
Yeah, Checo deserved it for sure. He played qualified really well. No, not really well. He was 6th, right? I think. Yeah, so it was a little poor qualifying because even Gasly out-qualified him.
Yeah, 7th.
He recovered really well in the race because in the first laps, I think he was basically overtaking everyone and immediately caught up to the back of Hamilton. So very good race for Checo for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
but,
I don't know sorry.
Oh, no, carry on.
I don't know if y'all saw Christian Horner's interview after that. He was saying that because Checo did the overcut, right, basically, had Red Bull, basically what happened was that Checo stopped a bit later on his marks, which led to the lengthy pit stop. So, Horner said that without that missing of the mark, right, actually Perez could have come out ahead of Max. Because the gap was very close, in fact, and he was actually faster than he was doing faster laps than Max and Lewis at that point on the old soft tires. So like what y'all said, he did really well, to get through the field in those few laps and eventually, get to the position to win. So that's all for me.
Yep. Yeah. I would definitely say he was deserving of the win today, lah. Even without Verstappen's crash, I feel like Checo did have the better race overall.
It was just a very wholesome podium, wasn't it? With Checo,
yes,
Seb,
definitely.
And Gasly.
Yeah,
beautiful. I think these are the days which we live. We love as F1 fans. So it's just brings a lot of joy to all of us. Even though we might support different teams and stuff, but it's good to see all those three guys because all three of them deserve to be up there.
I like how none of our predictions came true.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, if anyone could have predicted this, I would have. I don't know. It deserved to be like not here or somewhere else.
None of us even thought Leclerc would get a pole. You know, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, I predicted Leclerc third, so I'll take it. I was at least closer than all of you guys.
Yeah, I think you were the closest on that count.
Almost, you know, he was battling Gasly as well.
Oh yeah, that was a brilliant fight. You know, and then Gasly got his elbows out at the end, and then he managed to defend his position very well. And
it's also very nice to see both Gasly and Leclerc at the Parc Fermé afterwards. They were like both pushing each other, like telling each other there was a crazy fight at the last lap. It's quite nice. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want to see. I mean, you fight hard on the track, and then you guys are, cool off the track.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. But I mean, it was definitely a really good weekend for Ferrari, I think. Even when you consider where they actually finished, it was Leclerc 4th and Sainz in 8th. But it does look like a promising build-up for them.
I thought Sainz had a pretty average race, actually. I don't know.
I think it was decent.
He had a lockup.
Into the cut before the console section. Yeah.
Right.
And that basically caused same tire flat spot, I believe, and then he went quite behind. So took him quite some time to get up as well.
If I'm not wrong, he fought his way back up from 15, I think.
Yeah, it's still a good recovery drive to come back 8th.
Yeah, it was a really good recovery drive.
Where Mercedes, Bottas couldn't even overtake one single guy. Sainz did something at least. Yeah.
Yep. Love to hear that, man.
Of course you do.
Yep.
I mean, even when you consider that Ferrari is not the fastest car on the straight by any means, they really showed what kind of qualities they have through the tighter corners, the slower corners, both in Monaco and here. And you have to give them credit for that lah. I think they were prepared for both races pretty well. But my question is, do you guys think Charles would have stayed on pole if not for the crash?
I thought Verstappen was pretty quick right before that.
Yeah.
I think he might have snatched pole if it wasn't for that.
And Leclerc actually got a tow from the Mercedes on his first run in Q3.
Yeah, he did.
So that probably helped him a lot lah. Yeah.
I think for me, I don't know. It's hard to say for sure because the tow was very effective, and if I'm not wrong, Ferrari went with a setup which purely was give them the best straight line speed. I think because that's clearly the department they were lacking in. So I think it would have been close, but maybe I think Charles would have just still stayed ahead. I mean, I don't know who else were on the laps and if anyone had a tow or not. I don't remember now, but I mean, it's nice to see Ferrari up front again. It's been like after the horrid last season they had. We had this discussion last episode as well. It's good to see them up front. They don't quite have the race pace yet, where they are struggling, but I think that's expected of them. But at least on Saturday, if they can mix things up a bit, that just brings a lot more entertainment for us on Sunday. If the big guns, let's say Max, who was P3 this time, had to actually overtake Charles to get up ahead. So yeah. If it brings more entertainment, I'm more all for it, man. Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, as a McLaren fan, you also have to keep in mind that they are your direct competitors right now, since Ferrari is 2 points ahead of McLaren now in the constructors championship.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like McLaren had a very weird weekend, I would say. Like you're struggling in the race. Okay, in the quali, I think Lando was P6, and then of course he got a penalty, which we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, and then I don't know. It's just a very weird race. He fell back in the start. I think he had a poor start, and he just found it hard to, I think, get up again. Eventually, I think the strategy worked out all well, and then with the whole drama up front, he managed to come still P5, which is I was surprised with it. After all that pace McLaren had. So yeah, it's very weird because I thought maybe McLaren might be strong at this track because it's basically straights, Mercedes engine at the back. They might be pretty quick, but apparently I think everyone else was just pretty much quicker as well, like Aston Martin. even they have Mercedes engine, they were pretty quick, and
Yep.
Alpine as well. Somehow they were pretty quick as well. Alonso finishing P6. That is, thing. It's a good comeback for the Spaniard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ricciardo's still finding his fit, and I hope eventually it'll come to him.
He finished in the points, right?
Yeah, he finished P9,
Yep.
which
Yeah,
is
P9.
okay. But
Yeah, I mean, at least it's in the points, you know.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'm not too worried. It's very tight between Ferrari and McLaren, as you can see, and I'm sure eventually, it will really come down to Ricciardo, who needs to up his game, obviously, because we can see Sainz is up there with Leclerc, and only Ricciardo's the one struggling against Norris in the same car there. So yeah, it should be an interesting fight, but obviously I hope McLaren will come up top.
Yep, of course. I'm sure you'll be hoping for that. But let's just go back to what you said just now about the Lando Norris penalty. And for those of you who are not sure, he missed a red flag. No, he didn't miss the red flag. I think he noticed the red flag. But he didn't go into the pits immediately because he was right on the verge of the pit entry. And
it's too fast, basically.
He was too fast.
He was too fast. Yeah. And did his engineer tell him to stay out? Was it? Or he just didn't go in?
I think the call was pretty late. If
was
I'm not wrong, the call was pretty late. Yeah.
Right, that was okay. And he got a 3-place penalty for that. So I just want to start off by saying I really think it's quite ridiculous that he got a penalty for that. It would have taken really good reactions to get the car in, and probably would not have been safe to do so even. What do you guys think?
Apparently, the FIA said that he was supposed to receive a five-place penalty, but the mitigating factor was the fact that he lacked time to actually get into the pit lane. But I mean, the rules state that you're supposed to enter the pit lane at the nearest possible, or the earliest possible time. But I mean, obviously Norris didn't do that. For me personally, I think I share the same sentiment as Tarun. I feel like it's a bit harsh on the driver because I mean he was following protocol, and ultimately safety comes first, and he felt he was going too fast at that point in time, so he couldn't enter the pit lane. But it is what it is. But I still think he had a pretty, I would say in terms of his Sunday itself was a pretty good Sunday for him, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely had a really good Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see what would have happened if he hadn't had that penalty, Maybe he could have challenged he might have been on the podium again, you never know.
I feel like he would have had no issue overtaking his old teammate going into turn 1 or turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would have been fighting Gasly and Leclerc if he hadn't gotten the penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, not Leclerc,
Yeah,
sorry.
I think
Leclerc's
he
in
would
front, but like maybe on a restart, let's say if they were all bunched up together, then yeah, for sure. And I think in the end, he was actually fighting Leclerc. Like, he actually caught up to the back of Leclerc when Gasly and Leclerc both had their own shenanigans going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish, I think it was less than a second to Leclerc when they finished.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
No, but I mean, to me, rules are rules, Obviously, I don't like it, like, in a sense, what happened with Norris getting the penalty. But, the rules apply to everyone. And the only thing which, by right, he should receive 5 plays, like Vikas said. But the FIA were a bit keen and just gave him 3 because they realized that logically it's not, like rules are rules. They apply to everyone, You can't just remove the rules and not apply it, even though logically it didn't make sense. So it's unfortunate. And
do you think there should be a review of maybe they should review the rules, go back and take a look at where they can actually give an exception?
I mean, it's very hard to exception, because that's a very debatable kind of a scenario. Like, if you have an exception to thing, then literally every team, let's say if they are penalized for that rule, they'll come ahead and try to protest. Like, why are we getting this penalty? Yeah. So I think it's a good like they've made it standardized. Like, if you do this, you get this. If you don't do this, you won't get it. Stuff like that. And I think even in the race, the Tiffy had a similar instance. I think when there was a red flag and he actually stayed
yes.
out.
Yeah.
Actually, what was that about?
Basically what happened. Yeah, his engineer basically had a miscomm with him. He told him to stay out, but
and he was driving right past the cranes or something.
Yeah, correct.
The engineer screwed up basically.
Yeah.
I think the engineer wanted to say come in, but he said stayed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Oh, wow.
Which is a very
No, it was quite a comical thing to see on the racetrack. These guys are professional drivers, professional teams.
Honestly, yeah.
That was a schoolboy mistake, honestly.
No, but I feel in this instance, right? I think one my issue with FIA is they shouldn't penalize the driver, but penalize the team. So what I mean by that is instead of penalizing the driver, let's say in terms of like 10-second penalty or whatever, penalize the team by fines or maybe drop in constructor points instead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just my opinion, because it's unfair, because it's clearly not Latifi's fault. He was just following what he was told to by his guy in the pit wall, and his guy in the pit wall was the one who screwed up. So why should Latifi get the pain compared to?
But won't that affect the driver's points, because your driver's points go towards the constructors championship points as well, right?
Yeah, so like that's what I don't know if it's logically do I make sense, but what
I get what you say. I get what you say, but
you can take away the constructors' points without taking away the drivers' points. It's like what they did with Aston Martin last year.
Exactly.
No, not Aston Martin. Racing Point last year.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean. Exactly.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, back to the Norris penalty. Yeah, I agree. It's a bit too harsh, and I think what's worse is that the FIA gave him penalty points. I think on his super license. I think it was.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Which
And
makes
he's 8 now,
harsh.
Yeah, and he's 1 point away from a race ban, which makes no sense.
I think
to
4
me.
points, not 1. I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4. I think I think Yash is right.
Yeah.
But he has the highest among all the F1 drivers,
Yeah.
Mazepin will be proud of him.
I think Mazepin will be proud of the fact that he finished
Okay.
above Hamilton
Yes.
on the track.
I thought we were going for that later, man. Okay.
Mazepin World Champion.
Did you guys see the Mazepin and Schumacher defense in the last lap?
Yeah.
Yes,
Schumacher
and
was super pissed.
I saw the clip of Schumacher wondering if Mazepin was trying to kill both of them,
Yeah.
and his engineer was just trying not to get him too worked up.
What do you guys think of that? Just one curious of your opinions.
I think I agree with Schumacher. He probably was trying to kill both of them. It was crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty dangerous.
That kind of speed.
I didn't actually see that clip, so I don't think I can say much about it.
Mm.
I think it was on the edge. It was dangerous, but I felt it was a bit legal because Mazepin did leave him enough space. So it was a late move, and it wasn't a move under braking, So it's
Yeah, that's true.
But obviously, it was very dangerous for sure. But I think it was very on the edge for me. Like
Yeah. Maybe it's not illegal, but it's more of that moral area.
Yeah.
As an F1 driver, you
it's
kind of
not good
do
sportsmanship.
some things. Yeah, it's
Not
good
good
sportsmanship.
It's
For sure.
It's pretty much what Magnussen got, like all the backlash for in those couple of years before.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's just a Haas driver thing.
Maybe. Gunther
And
Steiner.
this might be a very underrated opinion, but I am honestly rooting for Mazepin because I want him to prove the haters wrong. I'm not a Mazepin fanboy by any means, but I just want him to prove the haters wrong. I don't know, I don't want him, you see, all the comments I hear about him is just, all hate and all. I mean, yeah, for sure, yes, he's all that history, which, it is what it is, and he doesn't deserve the seat. That's arguably, you can debate about it. But now that he's in the sport, I want him to try and at least do something. And obviously, if he's not doing something, then he doesn't deserve the seat. But yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
It was just very comical to see him. I don't know if you guys saw this group of fans in the buildings. They were actually cheering for Mazepin. And they were clapping for him. And as he went by, he actually locked up right in front.
Oh, man.
It was a very funny picture image. You should see it if you haven't.
But actually, I mean, while we're on the topic of Haas, I just want to know what you guys think of Mick. I mean, he's not had a great start to the season. I think even by Haas standards, it's not been great for him. Granted, it's not been great for his teammate either, but do you guys think he can go ahead to hit some big heights in the future?
I mean, okay, to be fair, he's had some flashes of brilliance. Like, there have been races where I think he fought with Williams. I think maybe in Portimao and Spain. I think Spain he had a good start.
Yeah, I think it was Spain. He was ahead of Latifi, if I'm not wrong.
I mean, as you mentioned, Haas, I'm pretty sure they don't expect to be in the points even this year. But I mean, the best measure of your potential F1 is against your teammate, though. So I guess if he's got that covered, then maybe he can move on to a higher team. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I mean, to me, it's I mean, you can't really expect much from Haas, can you? It's just their car is the slowest, and you can't expect more than the last two places for them, honestly. So in that sense, you can't really judge Mick, in my opinion. And if you really want my honest opinion, I feel Mick should have gotten the Alfa Romeo seat instead of Kimi. And Kimi should just stop treating this as his hobby and quit. Like, enough, Kimi. We get it. You love the sport, but you're not fighting for anything. Just, I love you. I like, as much as I love Kimi, I feel it's time to go for him because he's just taking that extra seat which he doesn't need, and he doesn't even purely fighting for anything in his own terms. Like he said before in the Netflix Drive to Survive, he's just doing it for fun, I think. So,
Sharath, as a Kimi fan, what do you say?
I mean, I honestly see this as Kimi's last season. I mean, to be fair, I'm a huge fan of Antonio. I think he's done pretty well actually this year. He's a bit underrated in my opinion.
He has.
But
yeah, he deserves a seat.
But at the same time, Antonio hasn't exactly outperformed Kimi in some of the races. So it's I mean, Antonio didn't have a really good weekend in Baku, I think. Like he put in the wall in qualifying, and then after that in the race, I don't know if y'all saw, but he actually went into Ricardo at the restart. So
I saw that.
So it was a bit of a clumsy weekend, but other than that, I think last week in Monaco, 2 weeks ago actually, showed that Antonio does have speed, just that he needs to be a bit more consistent. But yeah, I'm really on that. I think Kimi, I think he's had his fun. I think he probably should give the seat up to someone who I think deserves it a bit more. Because I mean, why would you want to stay in a team that honestly has gone backwards quite a bit in the last few years? So yeah.
And it's
Really?
what now, 40, 41 now this year, Kimi?
Yeah.
I think 41.
Yeah, it's 41.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, he's a great guy, like, very funny, and we all love his memes, but I'm sorry, Kimi. We need to give some young guns the time to shine now. You've had your fun.
I mean, you have people like Caleb Mylord, Schwartzman, all these people in the Ferrari Drivers Academy, and probably
Exactly.
they probably have.
I wanted Ilott to get a seat. I was backing Ilott. I love Ilott.
Actually,
so,
it's looking more likely that Ilott might get the seat for next year because I think he was with Alfa Romeo actually this weekend, if I'm not wrong, or 2 weekends ago. And they've been pushing for him to maybe get a free practice session in sometime soon. But I might be wrong, but yeah.
I mean, they should move Mick up if that's the case.
Yeah, true.
Mick needs to perform because I think realistically going forward, Ferrari see Mick in that Ferrari seat. How soon is that? I don't know, but and if you want to really realistically gauge Mick, you have to put him in a better car to fight at least. And Alpha can fight for points. You can see that by the last two races. So yeah, let's see. I mean, we don't know because next year is going to be a whole revamp of the whole system.
Correct.
So you might not know. Haas might end up being world champions. Knock knock, Mazepin. But yeah, let's see. I really hope Mick does get a better car though if Haas don't perform next year.
Yep. But I think one thing about Mick is that I mean I haven't really seen this firsthand. I've read about him, and it's just that he's a bit of a slow burner when it comes to starting off his careers from Formula 3 and Formula 2, and then that's kind of been his trend. I think he hasn't always hit the ground running, and maybe that's just what's happening here in F1 as well. So maybe just give him a little bit more time until he really starts to show us what he has, and hopefully in a more competitive car as well. If it's a Haas, then I mean, so be it in the Haas. And if it's not, then sure, good for him, as long as he gets his chance. I think. I feel like Mick is one of those drivers on the grid that everyone is rooting for. Really, he's like a Vettel 2.0.
And I mean, the thing about Mick is he brings a lot of I wouldn't say sponsorship, but with the name of Schumacher just behind him, He brings a lot of attraction for other in teams and investors just to invest in the team. So for a small team like Haas, it's quite I feel valuable. Like obviously, like at Haas right now, it's Mazepin that's basically doing everything. But it's a good how to say, like a good asset for a team. Like just the Schumacher name behind the team. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, so anyway, moving on. We have to talk about this, guys. We have to talk about what the hell was going on with Tyres this weekend. We saw Lance going into the wall. That was a heavy crash, by the way. And so glad he's okay. And we saw Max going into the wall. What the hell what happened with Tyres? Sharath,
Yeah, so
you want to start it off?
Pirelli had said actually compared to the previous Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the set of compounds that they brought for this year was actually a step softer. So, like in previous years at Baku, the teams barely touched the hard tire, but so for this Grand Prix they did lah. And what's very scary about the tire failures was that there was actually no real indication that it was gonna fail. Because I'm pretty sure if if they picked up debris, right, the teams would have noticed some form of cuts on the tire,
some pressure drop or something like that. I think.
The temperatures would have been different. And Pirelli actually said that during the red flag, when Lewis Hamilton came in, they noticed a big cut on his left rear tire, which is the tire that failed on both Lance and Verstappen. So, but my question is, okay, maybe the debris from Lance Stroll's crash caused Max's tires to fail, but then what caused Lance Stroll's crash? It doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the final investigations to come out. What about y'all? What do y'all think?
I mean, Pirelli did say actually that it's more likely caused by debris. I read this today morning, but I think Pirelli are just trying to hide from the truth, honestly, because I mean, this is not the first time it has happened at Baku. It happened 2018 as well. Bottas one or two laps, and his tire went out
from the lead.
Exactly, that's why. So it's not like we have unheard of tire blowouts in Baku. It's a all like happening occurrence. I can't remember if there was any blowouts in 2019, but it's still it's a thing which always happens in Baku. And the reason why it happens is Baku is because it's very high speed, so there's lots of stress on the tires, especially in the final sector when they have to flick the car left, right, left. I think to just get on the straight. Even though it might look like just a straight to us on TV, it's the tires still go through a lot of forces in that, and at that speed, the forces are definitely incredible. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure Pirelli need to do something about it, and I don't know. Like over the years, I've always felt that Pirelli are trying to make the tires a lot harder. I think so that they last a lot longer. But in my opinion, I feel they should do something about it in that sense that if you want to make it harder, for sure, go ahead. But then I feel they should have something like maybe a mandatory 2-stop or something. Because if you see, it's Pirelli's fault that they actually said that these tires could last pretty much 60 laps of the race. Because not 60, 50 laps of the race.
Was it 40? I thought. Okay.
No, because if I'm not wrong, Russell pitted at the very first lap. So I'm guessing I'm pretty sure they got data from Pirelli and stuff saying that these tires will probably last this long. So, and it's quite dangerous, I mean, having crashed at almost 300 kilometers per hour, it's luckily nothing happened to both of them. But it's quite scary, So I don't know, I've always felt more stops is better than less stops for entertainment purposes. Because it gives
that's a good point actually.
Yeah, because it gives you that strategic element a lot more. And I also like the, I don't know which year was it, but we had the hyper soft, ultra soft, super softs, all that range of tires we had. That was quite an interesting era as well, because you just had a lot of strategic options. Now there's very little strategic options in terms of tires. I feel that's just my general opinion of it. But Pirelli needs to do a better job because, the drivers are putting their lives at risk, and if it's Pirelli's fault, they need to sort out the issue and get a solution right.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't do you actually see Pirelli taking responsibility for this? They've already tried to deflect it onto debris, and
Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I don't think
Accept
they
it.
ever have taken responsibility.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll fix it but because I mean there are certain tracks with really severe tire degradation, and I mean if this let's say if this happens at Spa or Eau Rouge, then that's it. It's game over. So
Oh,
yeah, they probably
yeah.
will try and fix it, then for the next couple of races.
Talking about Spa, guys, have you seen the video what was happening at Spa the weekend?
Was it a massive?
It was
Last weekend?
It was basically flooded. Yes, it was
Oh.
completely flooded with really bad weather. Like it was literally like a river flowing around the straight going up to Eau Rouge and Radion. It's just crazy.
Oh,
Yeah. Just something sidetracked now.
Imagine racing in that.
imagine that. Dragon boat racing.
Wow.
And
Spa.
Vettel goes swimming down.
They should get
inside.
their rowing crafts out.
Yeah, that would be a fun side quest, side race maybe.
It's a shame that it's not it didn't happen during the race. It would have been quite fun. I mean, obviously they'll probably call it off, but
They would have called it off.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
exactly. But
I mean,
I think we're due a wet
Wet
race.
ti-
I think we had it in Imola, but like we haven't had like a proper full-on wet race this year, like how we had in Turkey last year.
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, climate change.
Yeah, we're due with that. Let's see.
Yep. Some big performers this weekend. We have to say two of the A's, Aston Martin and AlphaTauri. They had an incredible race, I think, especially both teams finishing on the podium. So maybe we can start by talking about Aston Martin. And it's really been looking up for them for the last few races. They had not a great start to their season, but I think maybe things are starting to settle down, and maybe they're looking on a upward trajectory right now. Maybe Vikas, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, as you guys would have probably seen, I think Vettel's drive was just amazing, and that is, I mean, testament to Aston Martin's perhaps ambitions this season. So I was just looking at something. I was just reading something. Apparently, Vettel has the most points in Baku for any driver in history. So that is something that's very, very impressive. And Baku is a track that Vettel has always performed very, very well. But on the race itself, I thought I think Vettel's tire management was very, very good. He stayed on I'm not sure what tires he had on at first, but he stayed on in the initial batch of tires for a pretty long time, much longer than the other cars, and I think that played perfectly into Aston Martin's strategy. And obviously Vettel, with his experience and racecraft, I mean, he was just amazing, and he took it home. P2 was, I thought, an amazing performance, and I think well deserved for Aston Martin.
I think it was on softs.
Yeah, it was on softs.
Yeah,
In fact,
softs.
because I remember on the restart he was starting on a fresh set of softs, so I'm not sure if it was softs.
it was softs. Yeah. Basically,
Ah,
Aston
okay.
Martin did the same strategy did in Monaco, where Vettel started on the softs, went long, and Lance started on the hards and went long as well. So yeah.
If Lance hadn't had that crash, he could have been out with Seb near the podium. There was a chance because he was actually faster than the guys, and he was P4 when he had a crash, I think. So he probably would have ended up somewhere around P8 or P9, I'm guessing, and he would have been on fresh softs towards the end. So yeah, it's a shame for Lance, I would say, but for sure, man, Aston Martin. They seem to have coming back alive after the first few poor races they've had, and especially Seb. Like, you have no idea how happy it makes me to see Seb, back happy. Like, he just had such a poor season, you could say.
Yep.
At Ferrari, and the way Ferrari treated him and everything that year and the year before, it's just so great to see him back on the not top step, just right beside it. So hopefully the top step in some crazy race this year.
I mean, he was very, very close to the top step this race.
Yeah.
Do you think that Aston Martin can actually challenge the McLarens and the Ferraris at any point this season, like at a more consistent basis?
Ooh.
I think consistency-wise, it's a possibility. But in terms of points-wise, it's very hard to overtake both these guys now because both Ferrari and McLaren are at 94 and 92 points. And Aston Martin is at 37.
Okay.
So the clearest challenger to them right now is actually Tauri on 39. So there's a big gap between the top 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Yeah. But it will be a very interesting battle for fifth in constructors between Alpha and Aston.
That is
Both
true.
are 2 points right now. So
Yeah, I would say Alpine are in the mix as well.
Definitely, yeah.
But I feel for Alpine, it's very track specific. So Monaco, I think, definitely didn't suit them. And to be honest, I mean, Fernando had a very good qualifying in Baku, but during the race, his race pace just wasn't quite there, and he made up for it at the end. I don't know if you all saw his restart lah. It was amazing. He just passed. I think it was Sainz.
yeah, he passed everyone.
Sainz,
basically.
Ricardo, and Tsunoda. His moves on them were incredible. It was like the old Fernando. But yeah, back to Vicas's point, I don't think Aston Martin will be able to challenge McLaren. I think McLaren really have a good car that I think will be ahead of the midfield in a lot of the races coming up. It will be difficult for Aston Martin to be there, but I mean, then again, Aston have been very creative with their strategy, so maybe they can mix it up a bit with that. So yeah.
Do you guys think that Seb can reach that level of consistency he has shown in both Monaco and Baku? Like, is this just a one-off thing, or?
I would say if the car can keep up with him, he can definitely do it.
Yeah,
I mean, he has shown that he can be very good in the car, like with pace and also overtaking. Because after the safety car, he actually overtook Gasly and someone, I can't remember who. He did 2 overtakes to get to P4, I think, and then he got P3 because how did he get P3? I can't remember now. But yeah, he had like a very good safety car start, and then obviously after the red flag, Lewis just went to space. He got a P2 because of that. So yeah, for sure, he just needs to be like you said, the car needs to be consistent, and if he can keep up with it, then for sure Seb can be up there.
And I mean, we did talk about Lewis going into space, of course, and this kind of reminds me of one of F1's most famous press conferences, one of the most famous questions in press conferences. So, gentlemen, a short view back to the past. And I mean, like, the reason why I brought this up is because why Hamilton actually went off was because he accidentally hit a switch that he wasn't supposed to, and that kind
It's
of
called the
like
magic
just
switch.
yeah, the magic switch. It just kind of switched off his brakes. So I mean, short view back to the past, that question, basically the gist of it was whether F1 is too complicated with all the buttons and all the bells and whistles nowadays on the steering wheels. And this seems like a good time to ask this question again. Is it too complicated? Maybe should it be simpler so that we could try and avoid things like this happening?
I mean, this one to me, it's more of Mercedes' design fault, where they put that switch in a position where it can be clicked automatically. Like, I think it was somewhere near the upshift, and if you know how the upshift works, it's a very close grip, and they have like even some rotary switches quite close to the upshift. So obviously, I don't know which one of all of this is the magic switch, because Mercedes obviously don't want to reveal their secrets to their rivals. But it's more of a design fault in terms of steering wheel. So I'm sure like Mercedes would go back to the drawing board and see where they can place that switch somewhere else. But it's also a very unusual mistake, like to flick the switch while you're upshifting, and it had to happen at that moment, at a safety car restart. Whilst not somewhere, let's say in the race or something, or throughout, because you hardly hear this thing happening.
Yeah, I think Toto Wolff was saying that it wasn't actually a mistake by Lewis. It was actually because Sergio Perez came a bit too close to Lewis, and I mean that's what Toto Wolff claims. I'm not sure if he actually blames, or I mean he takes the blame for it, but yeah, I don't know what you want to make of that. Whether it's something they want to review or maybe.
I think what he meant by that is he's just meaning because Sergio came across, right? So Lewis had to have a bit of a left steer. So when he had the left steer, I'm guessing one of his fingers just accidentally clicked the button or something, and that basically pushed all the braking to the front. And because he was trying to outbrake Sergio, he broke a bit later, a fraction meter later, and because he was later on the brakes, he had to brake a lot harder, and that's what caused all the lockup. And yeah, he just went straight basically. So yeah, I mean it's a very unfortunate mistake. It's something which I wouldn't really blame Hamilton. I mean, obviously, it's unusual to see that happen, but I wouldn't say it's a completely Hamilton's fault. Like, yeah, for sure, it's because he accidentally clicked it, but by no means like if the switch was probably somewhere else, this thing wouldn't have happened. So, yeah.
I mean, to me as a Red Bull fan, that was almost poetic justice, after what happened next.
I mean, honestly, I'm very happy that happened because I did not want Lewis to take a lot of points from Max.
Exactly. I mean, now it's like interesting again. Imagine if Lewis had actually finished P2, then I'm pretty sure that the Drivers' Championship won't be as interesting because Max has a lot more to catch up. Now it's back to that open race again, between Max and Lewis.
I mean, it's still the same. It hasn't moved from Monaco. It's still 4
exactly.
points.
It's
That's
the same 4.
That's brilliant. Yeah. But if let's say Lewis, how many points do you get for finishing second?
18.
18, right? Yeah. I mean, 18 points is not an easy gap to catch up with, especially if you have someone like Lewis Hamilton, who's going to be at the top of his game for the foreseeable future. So I mean, right now I'm very happy. At least I think as a neutral, you'd love to see that. Now it's like a lot more even.
Yeah. No, but I'm also a bit I would have been very pissed. I mean, if Max would have let's say at the end of the season, the World Championship came down to this tire failure.
Exactly.
Which caused Max to lose. I would have been very pissed off with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's happened before. In 2016, Lewis had an engine failure in Malaysia. Which is why he lost the Drivers' Championship to Rosberg, basically. I don't know if you guys remember that. But Lewis was leading the race and Rosberg wasn't doing quite well. So that race, with that 25 points, Lewis would have overtaken Rosberg. So once he would have overtaken, he just needed to be ahead of Rosberg every race. But because he lost that, it meant that Lewis had to win every race and Rosberg had to finish third or lower every race, which did happen, obviously. So, yeah. But I'm glad that it's all back to what it is. And hopefully it continues this way, like the title battle all the way up until Abu Dhabi.
Yep.
That's the plan, I hope. I mean, at the end of the day, I still want Lewis to come out on top, but ultimately it's just about good racing. That's always the primary aim of any sport, of course. Anything else to talk about Baku for you guys?
Did we talk about Alpha Tauri?
We did kind of go past it, but sure, yeah. I think maybe we could talk a bit more. It was a really, really good result for Pierre Gasly, of course, and Tsunoda as well, picking up P7.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? I think
it was a pretty impressive weekend by Alpha Tauri overall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Yash, go on.
I was just gonna say we should not call him Tsunoda, but Angry Bird.
You told the engineer to shut up, right?
I think we heard one of the radios, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was beautiful to watch.
It's amazing. And it's so cute. He just does not seem like that kind of guy. And you see him like swearing on the radio, and it's very adorable.
And his Japanese accent just makes it sound funny. I don't know why. I'm not trying to be offensive, so any Japanese
no
I'm
racism
not being
intended.
offensive, but it just sounds funny when Yuki says it. And the way he said, I am shut up, it was just so hilarious. But I don't think AlphaTauri will be quite pleased because it's not good for the image to just
of course.
shut the engine off. like
True,
that.
true.
I mean, you can use a politer way of saying, let me focus and stuff, not just shut up, So that's something Yuki has to work on for sure. Because I mean, how many radios has it been this season? And we're only 5-6 races in.
I remember the first episode we made. We talked about his post race interview, and we just said the car is too slow. And
Yep.
well, we haven't come a long way since then. I think
Definitely.
still pretty much at the same spot.
I mean, imagine Yuki fighting for the championship. I can't imagine for radios we are going to get then, man. It's going to be insane.
I heard this week. Oh yeah, go.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be something like Max's post race audio, where it was just
swearing.
It was just like 3 beeps to put together, and that was his entire audio.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you were saying?
Yeah. So I think I was watching the race. I think the commentator was saying that Yuki actually paid a visit to the AlphaTauri factory, and I think he went there to better understand how the car functioned and how he can best extract the pace out of the car. And I think probably that might have played a part in his performance this weekend.
Actually, it's more than that. So actually, Helmut Marko shifted Tsunoda because he was staying in the UK actually, and shifted Tsunoda from the UK to Italy, closer to the AlphaTauri factory for his training schedule. Because in the last couple of races, Tsunoda has not been there. His Gasly has been up there fighting for points, and Tsunoda has been struggling to get out of Q1 even. So that probably helped. And we know Tsunoda is actually, he has a lot of potential. We've seen it in the junior formula. He has that potential to fight for points, but I think he just needs to be a bit more consistent with his qualifying. His racecraft and all that needs to be improved. But he's getting there, and hopefully we see him up there with Gasly sometime soon.
I mean, if Gasly is getting P3, I think it's quite acceptable for Yuki to get P7. I think this weekend was a very good weekend for him. A good confidence booster because he hasn't had the best of starts after Bahrain initially. So for sure, I think he'll gain confidence from this, and we all want to see the young Japanese Angry Bird succeed. So hopefully, he keeps performing like this and gives us amazing content to make with his radios.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, not just about the radio thing. That'll be nice, but I just feel like Yuki is one of those drivers who has the raw, explosive pace, and the moment he learns to refine it into proper race pace, that is when we have an incredible driver on our hands.
Yeah. But I mean, it also shows how good of a driver Gasly has become, to be fair. So, yeah.
That's true.
Definitely true. Just one more success story for the drivers who have been fired by Red Bull Group, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, he hasn't been technically fired. He's still part of Red Bull family.
This got demoted.
But
I think it's a better word to use.
I feel
demoted.
Frankly, this has been more like a promotion for him.
But I feel for Gasly to make any advancement in his career, he has to leave AlphaTauri. He has to leave the Red Bull family. If not, he's just going to be stuck there for I don't know how long.
And I don't think he should go back to Red Bull.
No.
Probably not.
You should never run back to your ex. The way he's been treated at Red Bull. Because if I'm not wrong, Honda had given interviews purely blaming Gasly and not really supporting him. As much as Honda supported Albon and Perez, I mean, he doesn't need any support. He's just a great driver, but Gasly wasn't treated well. We all know that. As much as he claims that he wants to get back to the Red Bull, I don't think he should. He should, leave AlphaTauri and the entire Red Bull program. And I'm sure he can get a seat elsewhere, man. Probably Alpine, maybe. But obviously the question will be how competitive car he can get. That's something which is a bit debatable. And AlphaTauri are pretty competitive right now, so why not just stay there, get a few more podiums, and when the seat opens at some of the big guns, you can jump into that ship.
I'm sure he'll be on the names of some of the team principals when they think
unpopular
about
opinion,
future replacements.
which I
McLaren.
just no, not McLaren. Unpopular opinion for me is Mercedes.
Ooh.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Imagine Gasly and Russell in that seat.
Oh.
That would be amazing.
Would be.
Yeah, but it's
That
not
would be
happening
amazing,
for
but
sure.
You're drawing out happening.
yeah, but I mean, I'm just like my concern would be that both of them are kind of the primary drivers of their team. Gasly is not the second driver that Mercedes can rely on, and they are definitely looking at George as a first driver option. So I'm sure there's going to be some clashes here and there because of that. But yeah, I don't know. You never know. We have to see how it happens, if it happens, of course.
I mean, we have seen drivers leave the Red Bull Academy. Sainz leaving the family
Mhm.
when he went to Renault, I think, and then and now obviously he's at Ferrari. So if Gasly wants to get into one of the top teams, maybe a Mercedes, then he has to definitely leave. I mean, obviously it's a very far-fetched speculation, this, but if I'm being honest, I do see a future for Gasly at Mercedes. Like, he could get that seat because, even if, let's say, Hamilton retires, eventually you need to find a replace for Bottas. So yeah, and I don't think Mercedes have any driver in the lining up in that sense, because Ocon is.
I think Ocon is still under them, but
is it? I thought
yeah.
he left.
Not sure actually. I remember reading something about they could bring back Ocon if they wanted to,
But I feel like
for next season.
Alpine have pretty much
Right.
Yeah.
placed all their hopes
But I'm not
on
too sure.
Ocon, so I don't see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, Alonso's probably staying for
Yes.
2-3 seasons max. I don't see him staying that any longer, to be honest. So
Mhm.
yeah, let's see. But the whole the story of Gasly moving up, like, yeah, it needs to happen if he wants to be a world champion for sure.
Yeah, and it will be some proper fairy tale material if it does happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other thoughts on Baku?
Yeah, I think that's it.
And
That's
for me,
about it, I guess.
I would just
Same.
like to say,
Yeah.
well done, Baku.
Yeah.
It has
Yep.
delivered
Yeah,
once again.
Baku has delivered.
Yeah. The only year it did deliver was its first year, which was in 2016, where Rosberg just won
Yep.
a clean race by himself. But apart from that, every year has been fireworks at Baku. And yeah, I think that's the only street circuit, honestly, I think everyone looks forward to coming back to every year.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, personally, I've always looked forward to Singapore, but
We all look
that's-
forward to Singapore, but we
race.
don't look forward
Yeah.
to
To the racing
entertainment
itself.
which brings,
yeah, it's more. It's
Yeah.
just more of the whole spectacle, I guess.
Yeah. It's just for us to experience the cars and the experience of F1, which is why we look forward to it. But yeah.
Of course. But yeah, speaking about looking forward to races, up next, we actually have a triple header coming up with France and 2 in Austria following that. So, well, we'll just be starting off with we'll just be saying our predictions for the French GP. So, as usual, let's talk about who's going to be topping Saturday and who's topping on Sunday. And maybe Sharath, you want to start this off?
Wow. I mean, I think we all know it'll be a close fight between Red Bull and Mercedes again. But it's really difficult, Every time I think Mercedes will be quicker at the track, Red Bull turn up and get a pole or even win the race. So I'm gonna say Mercedes might get pole because traditionally they've gone well around Paul Ricard, but I'm pretty sure Red Bull will be up there as well. So Hamilton pole and maybe he might win the race. That's my prediction.
Okay, I see. And Yash, what about you?
To me, it's I don't know, honestly. I think Mercedes it's no longer a street track. They will probably be a better car, I guess. So I might be expecting Hamilton to get a pole, but all I want from France is just deliver. Like, just stop being a border fest. Deliver for once, Like, honestly, at this moment, I don't really care who's at the top. I just want a good race, like good entertainment, good fun, and the title battle to be close. So obviously, I want Hamilton and Max to be as close as possible. So I'm guessing Hamilton will be on pole, and then just a good fight on Sunday between Hamilton and Max should be great fun, I guess. But obviously, we shouldn't discount, I guess, Ferrari, because France is a track where you need pretty good aero as well, apart from the middle sector, which is basically almost a straight. So they might be a dark horse for this to get the pole at least. I'm not sure about the race pace, but they might be a dark horse from what we have seen at Baku, because they were obviously a major underdogs at Baku to get a pole, and they did. So I would like maybe underdog to upset the grid on starting Sunday at least.
Yep, that will be pretty good fun to see, I'm sure. Vikas, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, like what Yash said, I think we probably will see Mercedes back again. I expect them to be on top, and I think Hamilton, given his history at France, he probably will qualify on pole. But on the race itself, I see Max putting up a good fight, and hopefully one or two misfortunes, maybe a slow pit stop. I hope to see Max obviously clinch the win, But let's see, you never know, I think it's going to be a pretty close race between the Red Bull and the Mercedes cars.
I have one bold prediction to make.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's go.
Mazepin will be ahead of Schumacher.
Oh.
Just for the fun.
He was ahead of him in Monaco, right? Is it?
Yeah, he was.
But I think because Schumacher had some problems, I think. That's why.
Yeah.
Still a W, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I mean, I think you guys have more faith in Mercedes speed than I do, actually. I think Max will be on pole for France, but I do think Hamilton will win it. Fingers crossed. Yep.
Any chance for a surprise podium? Maybe a surprise third guy? Anyone?
I think Charles Leclerc.
I feel like Charles might end up on the podium.
He's a bit overdue, I feel.
He hasn't had a podium this year, right, Charles?
I think so.
Nope.
No, right? Yeah.
Given the fact that Sainz has already got it, I think he's overdue.
Yeah.
He's done pretty well.
Yeah.
So I think
I remember last year he got a couple at least, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say either Charles or Checo will end up on the podium. I'm definitely going to say there's a higher chance of Checo on the podium than Bottas.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't disregard Checo, man. Checo is not in the category of underdog anymore.
Yeah, that's true. He's definitely considered as one of the front runners at this point. Yeah. After the last couple of weeks, I think he deserves that front runner position more than Valtteri. I'm sorry, Valtteri, I like you, but not been a good season, man.
I mean, it's just going to be a very interesting battle, isn't it? Hamilton versus Max, Checo versus Bottas. So, yeah. And also now, we forgot to mention this, but Red Bull they have a good lead in the constructors now because of
they do.
Mercedes not scoring any points.
Yep.
So that could be very interesting.
Maybe we'll finally see a team not get the double.
Yep.
That'll be nice. I mean, I'll be rooting for that. Hamilton to take the drivers and Red Bull taking constructors. Not the worst thing that could happen, I think.
Okay, debatable, but
hey, I mean, you get one, I get one. We're all happy.
Yeah, but you've been getting both for quite a number of years, bro.
That's true.
Yeah, but let's see. Interesting times.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all think the midfield will be at France? Who do you think will come out on top of that?
By midfield, are we talking about third, fourth, or fifth, sixth, seventh?
McLaren, Alpine, AlphaTauri, Aston Martin.
It's probably McLaren, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Norris, even in this race, if he hadn't had the penalty, he would have done pretty well to challenge for the podium places. So I see McLaren coming back quite strongly.
I think McLaren will be strong too, but I think Aston Martin will also have a very good weekend. Fingers crossed.
What, Seb another podium?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna rule it out, but does seem quite unlikely. But
Yep.
maybe top 5, top 6, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if he finishes top 6, I think he's going to be getting driver of the day pretty often.
Ah, yeah.
That's 2
I
races
would
in a
think
row
so.
he's gotten driver of the day.
Yeah,
Monaco and Baku.
Well deserved though.
definitely.
Yep,
definitely.
both races
For
are
sure.
very, very well deserved. Yep, so that's our predictions for the French Grand Prix. Come back in 2 weeks. Wait, is it 2 weeks? Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah,
come
2
back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see how right or how wrong we have been. And well, moving on to our staple section of all of TNT's podcasts, L and Dub of the Week. So, starting off with L of the Week, have a couple of nominations. Who wants to go first?
Singapore GP.
Alright, yep. So, Singapore GP has been cancelled. And this was made official in the last week. And I mean, for a lot of you non-Singaporeans, it's probably not a big issue. But for us, it's pretty significant because I think all of us were actually quite looking forward to going this year. And
Yep.
it is on contract is the last year that is actually going to happen. And
We might not come back
probably
again.
probably
possibility.
won't be coming back. So it really does suck. Really bad. But question for you guys. Now that the Singapore GP has been cancelled, what track would you like to see replace it in the calendar?
Another weekend of Baku.
Oh. Maybe a reverse Baku?
I mean, they have talks about Austin, I think. Double header at Austin.
Oh.
But for me personally, I mean, because Singapore is meant to be sort of the Central Asia race, you know? So why not? Let's go to Malaysia. Sepang, beautiful circuit.
Yeah, Sepang
Yeah,
would be
Always
great.
produces amazing races as well.
Mhm.
And I honestly miss Sepang from the circuit, you know, like from the calendar. But yeah, obviously that's not going to happen. But yeah, I would love to see racing there back again.
I mean, actually, why did they stop hosting it there?
I think it was a money issue.
Right.
And now they're hosting a MotoGP, which makes sense. I mean, it's a lot cheaper and they have a larger fan base for MotoGP there. So
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's less costly also, MotoGP for sure.
That's right.
yeah.
What about you, Sharath? What would you like to see replace Singapore?
For me, I like what Yash said. I think it's Sepang or even what was it, Korea. I think Korea actually had a decent racetrack at one point. But yeah, I think same thing, due to money it got removed.
Yeah.
We are forgetting India, guys.
India was actually pretty solid, to be honest, as a racetrack.
Exactly. It's a good track.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's some dispute in the like the area there, which is why the race they cancelled the contract. Yeah. The funny thing is, I believe the people there, they actually felt that F1 is not really a sport but more of an entertainment, which is why it doesn't deserve the grounds to be a hosting, something like that. So I was just reading about it a few days ago because I was like, you know, we should go back to India, good track.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know, personally, if it ends up anything like last year, I would like to see Turkey back on the calendar. Yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty big L for all of us here at TNT F1. But come on, give me more. I know you guys have more nominations for L of the Week. Come on, let's hear
Well,
it.
I think just to add on to the Singapore Grand Prix, I think they are speculating that actually a lot more races might get cancelled in the second half of the season
Oh.
because of COVID situations. I think Japan, Brazil, Mexico, the UAE, and Australia. Yeah, these few countries, they are saying that there is a likelihood that these races might not happen.
Oh, damn.
So I think who's in charge right now? I think Stefano Domenicali. He's having a hard time trying to sustain that 23 race calendar because it's a bit late, I think, to make a lot of contract negotiations.
Yeah,
so,
it is. It's pretty late. I just hope we don't end up
So-
seeing a lot of like empty weekends on the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in that case, I think it's also better to have a shorter season. I mean, it's a 23
That's true.
race season. It's a bit long. It's
I mean,
putting a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
this
you say,
season is
sorry?
going into like mid-December.
Yeah.
When we finish off at Abu Dhabi, maybe might next year they would have had to consider a shorter season, perhaps.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen, man. Trust me.
Yeah, that's true. You need
We
the money.
already have Miami coming in next year, so that's going to be
Yeah.
24. But I'm sure like races, I think Singapore probably might not renew. I hope not. I mean, I hope they renew it. But, logically speaking, I don't think they're going to renew their contract. So
Yeah.
maybe with Singapore out of the window, they have like races for like a new race or something, which is where I'm guessing Miami might fit in. I don't know, but it's certainly not going to reduce. It's only going to increase probably.
Yeah. I mean, definitely there's a lot of loss in revenue, especially because of the pandemic. So
For sure.
definitely,
They will have to find some way to bring it back.
Exactly. So yeah, they're probably going to increase, like what Yash says.
I mean, Vietnam was supposed to be on the calendar, right? And then it got cancelled as well.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even
Last
host
year,
one race, and they built like a whole paddock and stuff just for the race.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
What a waste of money.
no.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. We have a Dutch Grand Prix as well, I think.
Is it on the calendar this year? No, right?
I don't think it's this year. I think
Yeah.
it might be next year.
Maybe
actually.
next year.
Yeah.
Not a bad track, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be hard for overtaking because the track is quite narrow and it's very
It's quite narrow and it's very windy.
and there's no proper straight. The straight is pretty small as well.
Mm.
So like,
And
it's
there's a
similar.
bank, right?
Sorry.
There's a bank, right? I mean,
Yep.
Yeah,
There
it's
is.
a bank, but then it's I don't think it'll produce that great of a race. It's going to be like almost like Monaco 2.0, I think. Yeah. But hey, you never know. You never know until we go there. So
Exactly.
if we go there,
Yeah.
let's wait and find out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that's it on the tracks. But come on, let's hear more L's of the week.
Who else? Lewis Hamilton.
Of course.
I mean, I think Max Verstappen to an extent as well, because like our football podcast, I think L of the week also constitutes being unlucky, and in a way, Max Verstappen's I guess
for that, I would say Max and Lance as well.
But
both of them
Lewis
very
is
unlucky.
the prime example of an L because if you remember, right at the restart, he was telling his team that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon and stuff, and then he goes and bottles it into the corner. I mean, it's just beautiful, like who would have scripted that if you think about it. So that's a major L for me.
It's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because Tarun and I have that subscription, so he actually spoiled it for the rest of the guys. He didn't even care he was spoiling it. It was so funny.
I know. Yep. Any more for L of the week?
For me, it will be his teammate,
Bottas, yeah.
Oh,
I think
so
we can just give it to
weekend.
Mercedes as a whole, really.
Yeah, probably. But I feel like for Lewis, it was a bit like y'all mentioned, it was the design fault.
Mm-hmm.
But for Bottas, it was just performance. He really was just
it was just
not
Valtteri.
where he was supposed to be. And I mean, I don't know if y'all heard, but the rumors are that Mercedes might do a mid-season switch between Bottas and Russell.
Ooh.
I don't think it'll happen, but I don't know.
I doubt it.
I doubt
But you
it.
never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty insane.
Yeah.
So that's what we have for L of the week, I guess. Now, Dub of the week, the more exciting section, and straight off the bat, my nomination, Sebastian Vettel.
Definitely up there. Checo as well. The biggest dub, I think.
Yep, Checo too.
Deservedly. Because I think even Horner himself said that he wasn't projected to be this good so far, like just 6 races in. So that's he's already exceeding expectations at Red Bull when traditionally drivers like Albon and Gasly so-called haven't met expectations. So straight away, it's good for Verstappen that he has support at the other end. Someone who can fend off Hamilton as he did in Baku. So definitely nomination for Dub of the Week.
Yep. And I mean, not to forget, Checo did get an actual dub this week, so.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, he did say that, like, judge him after 5 races, and the 6th race he goes on and
6th
wins
race,
the
and he
race.
does this, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so
It's crazy.
nice. And for me, I think we should just include Tauri there as well. They had a
Yeah.
very good
Yep.
weekend
Definitely.
overall. Both teams in the points, Gasly with the podium. And for a team as small as Tauri is, I think that's a big achievement, just getting a podium. And they've made a great progress. Last year they won the race as well, Monza. So
Yep.
it's good, like, definitely. Very nice for Tauri and the small team they have there.
Definitely. Yep.
Definitely. Anything else for
For
Dub of the
me,
Week?
for me, I will throw in a unusual one. I think Alonso did pretty well here actually, because I think in the last few races he's been overshadowed by Ocon actually. He's not been there, so for him to give the team a 6th place, I think is pretty solid from his end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Cool,
Good shout.
cool.
Good shout.
Yep. So those are our nominations for Dub of the Week. And with that, if there's nothing else, well, we have come to the end of our episode. This is episode 3 of Formula 1. Thank you guys for listening. If you have not done so, please do check us out on Instagram. Again, we are there at the Next Team SG. And you can also find us on Spotify as well as YouTube as the Next Team Podcast. And a huge thank you to our guest for today, Sharath. Thank you for joining us. It's been great to have you
so
on.
much.
Man.
Thanks,
Thank you
bro.
so much for having me. Yeah.
Thanks,
I
man.
mean, you got me to come on what an exciting race. So very honored.
Yep.
Yeah, probably
It's,
the best
been a
weekend to come.
Good weekend to have you on.
Yeah.
Yep. So until next race, I'll catch you after the French GP then. Until then, ciao guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.